Alright folks, Vitek here from Wani. With us today we have one and only Maurizio of KATAKLYSM. How are you doing today, buddy?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. I'm here. We just flew into Los Angeles. We're going to be shooting a couple of videos for the new album, and just here doing some press. So we're looking forward to unleashing this new record.
Awesome, man. Another belter of an album in the form of Meditations. 3 years after one of my favorite albums, that's of Ghosts and Gods. And all I can say is, if the devil had a voice, I'm pretty sure he would sound like Maurizio.
Well, it's been it was a very different approach for this record for us. The Ghosts and Gods for us was an incredible record that did really well. It was an album where the chemistry between me, Steph, Ollie, and JF really started gelling together, especially with Ollie being just a few records in with KATAKLYSM.
Yeah.
So it was something that we were still exploring as a band, because it's still it was fairly new. But this record, we kind of returned to the roots of how we used to write, and which is, we've written this record under the same roof of practicing together and working together on the records. We haven't done that in over 10 years because everybody lives in different areas.
Nice.
In different countries, so it's very difficult for us, to get together and actually spend so much time working on a record. So with technology, we've been, been spoiled and been doing it that way, which most bands do it anyways, sending files and stuff like that. But we needed to recapture something about KATAKLYSM that we felt, not that we lost, but that it's something that, in my opinion, we weren't exploring enough. And that was the spontaneous type of thing, and we got together and the magic just came out right away, and we were able to come out with some of the biggest songs I think we've written in a long time. And it was cool to be back into that feeling of just a couple of guys hanging out in the room and trying to come up with some cool music, and I think that was needed at this point in our career.
Absolutely, and that's probably the reason why all the songs have come out so organic, so naturally, instead of you guys sitting, like you said, in your respective locations and trying to come up with the riff and then share it. Instead, it's like a typical old school, an old school style of jamming together.
Absolutely, and I have personally feel that everything nowadays is very overly processed, And, it's everything is going through the motions, and it's like here's 200 riffs, and here's some drum beats done by programming, and trying to put this together as a song. And there's not that natural thing that used back in the day people used to write, like the whole being in the garage and just having a good time and doing it for the right reason. You know what I mean? Like it's like I don't want to see writing an album as a job. I want to see it as something that I love to do.
Right.
And with a clear message behind it. And I think we've achieved that with this record.
Awesome, definitely. For evil to triumph, it only takes good men to do nothing, and that's how this album rolls. And it's a journey altogether from the beginning till the end. There's one thing about KATAKLYSM which really I admire the most is that you guys sit and write, like let's say 8 songs or 10 songs. You guys don't write some 15, 14 songs and have some filler material there. It's always been the case that if you feel 9 songs are like good enough for an album, you go for it instead of kind of, let's say, pleasing some fans or something. You just focus on those tracks and give your best. And that's something, again, which I appreciated on the previous albums and so on Meditations. 10 tracks, all killer, no filler.
Yes, and that's exactly, no fillers, all killers, and that's the thing we kind of strive ourselves on. And I think you get lost in translation when you start putting 20 songs out there and you're really just throwing everything you got on the table. For us, it's important to sort through everything and just come out with why put 20 songs? You might as well put 10, but put 10 that are killer. And that's always been our goal. It's about quality, not quantity.
Absolutely. And there are songs on this album where there are many riffs in one song, which makes it even more interesting that it's not something that is played throughout the 4-minute mark, which kind of gets boring and repetitive. But there are some really good riffs in each song, and obviously JF bringing it in, Oli doing his crazy drumming, and obviously you being the beast. Everything sounds more organic on this, and something, let's say, made me feel that how many songs or riffs do you actually discarded, on this session just to make sure you have 10 perfect songs?
Yeah, awesome. I mean, that's a great compliment. And to be honest, like I said, Cataclysm in certain times have been criticized either to be a band that is either playing safe sometimes or, exploring too much. And I don't know, which one people want to label us in, but I think we've always been Cataclysm. We've never repeated the same record twice.
Right.
We've always been a band that's been, you can't say that Ghost and God sounds like this record.
Yeah.
You can't say this record sounds like Shadows and Dust, but it's Cataclysm all around, and I think that's a very special thing to be able to do today. Nobody really got their own identity. You can't say Cataclysm sounds like Cannibal Corpse or In Flames, but it has elements of everything. It's a very hybrid type of band. And I think that's a unique factor that not many bands can claim anymore. It's
Absolutely.
very difficult these days to be able to have your own sound, your own identity.
Absolutely.
So for us, it's been a weapon.
Indeed, indeed. And you've mentioned that this is an album that is very personal to you, with a lot of old wounds being revisited. Now, the previous album was more like an elemental outlook on good versus evil. What is the concept behind Meditations?
Well, I think that the title says a lot because we live in a very conflicted world. Also, in a not only on a world basis of what's going on politically, but also we're living in a very changing and crazy world at the moment in every society of the world. It's not just like on a personal level. Things are changing a lot around us in a very fast-paced. And you feel like you're always stressed. I have this feeling where everybody around me is always stressed. And when I was growing up, there was stress levels because, your parents, want to make some money to survive.
Yeah.
But now it's just not only that, it's fitting in. It's people have a hard time understanding each other. There's a lot of mixed messages out there. It's weird, and I think the internet has made the world very small compared to what it was before. Now it's like, and that I always was a dreamer about the world being so big and trying to explore it and wanting to find out different cultures and being interested by it. And now I feel that it's with the internet and the social media and all that stuff, it's made it really super small.
Right.
And I feel like there's this kind of people are on top of each other almost. You know what I mean? Like it's hard to explain.
Yeah,
you could just open your Facebook and everybody's emotions, everybody's feelings, everybody's what they're eating or whatever they're doing is everybody's stuff, and there's like over information, overload of information everywhere, and
Absolutely.
I think it's creating a lot of stress. So Meditations is, for me, I had, close friends and families that were like, maybe you want to try some yoga or you want to try some of this stuff. And to me, it's never been something for me, You're not going to see me on the floor trying to do that stuff. It's just not part of my personality. But for me, meditating is an important thing where you can come up with your soul and be in a quiet place in your mind, to break away from all the craziness. And I've always found that through music, personally. So to me, that's what Meditations is about. We live in a chaotic world, and the answer for me to that is music. Because every time I put my earphones, I block myself from the rest of the world. It could be an explosion in front of me, and music is the only thing I'm hearing, and that's what soothes my soul. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And to me, it's always been a healing factor. It doesn't have to be metal. It could be anything. It could be ambience, classical music, whatever it is that makes you,
connected.
Cope,
your soul.
Yeah.
Right. Absolutely. Most of the tracks on this album, are really fast, aggressive, really in your face. But then again, you have this, great unique ability to slow down some songs as well. For example, Narcissist, without, let's say, losing an intensity or the essence. And then you have I Saw Blood, or even the closing track, Achilles Heel. There, again, the highlights of an album kind of shows that the composition and the collaboration of, let's say, soulful melodies, which you guys come up with, and obviously you behind the mic. A lot of things, it's something that is a perfect closure for me when I listen to an album from the beginning till the end. Clearly indicates that how you guys perceive the flow of how the album should sound like, not just, play at, let's say, 300 BPM throughout the record. You're going to have to give it some time to breathe in and then again continue the chaos.
Right. And I think it's important in Cataclysm, we've been exploring a lot more a melodic edge that we've always had, but we've always been, like I said, a hybrid band. It was difficult to label Cataclysm. Are we really a big, brutal death metal band, or are we more of a melodic death metal band? Are we more of a groove-oriented death metal band? It's hard to, we know that it's part of the death metal world, right? But it's very hybrid, and this record, it started with of Ghosts and Gods when I told JF, the main writer in the band, I told him, I just want you to open up. I don't want you to be, because we have to follow a certain recipe. I said, like, why don't you, I want you to have this album as an open book. And he said, I love melody. That's what Iron Maiden is one of his favorite bands, and his favorite band. And he was like, if you let me green light, well, I'm going to put my influences on tape, and that's what's going to come out. And I said, well, do it, because I think that's what makes an album honest. And we want to be that honest band. We don't want to follow any trends. People try to do whatever it takes to survive. We just want to be Cataclysm and do our music. And if people are on it, cool. If they don't, well, what can you do? You can't force everybody to like everything,
Absolutely.
So I think that honest factor that came into this record, that organic feel, also, changing producers, all this stuff that we've done. I mean, Andy Sneed did a great job on Ghosts and Gods, don't get me wrong. I think he's one of the best producers out there. But there's also this thing where there's these 4 producers that he's using on every record, metal and metal. They're using it as a circle thing, right? Everybody's using the same guys, and eventually they'll start sounding kind of the same.
Right.
And what we did is we went really outside the box on this record and used a guy that's never done a death metal band before, or a very extreme band like us. He's worked with Anthrax and Stone Sour,
Jay Rustin,
like that. Jay Rustin, and it was a gamble, and we didn't tell our label. We were like, we're just gonna try something crazy and just trust us. And they were like, please don't fuck it up. So, but you know what? The end result, insane.
Yeah, it's clear.
I think this is one of the biggest productions we've ever had. It's an incredible production. When he first heard it, he was like, the music's incredible, the lyrics, everything is great, but I've never done this. And it's like, it's going to take me a while, It took him 6 weeks, almost 5 weeks to mix this record. Usually it takes 2 weeks to get it done. So he was like 5 weeks in, still working on the album. Everything. And yep, and it reminds me of a bit of a Pantera, Far Beyond Driven type of sound, very very aggressive and clear, and the bass is strong, and I was just happy. The drums sound phenomenal on the record as well.
Absolutely.
That's the big thing,
Absolutely,
yeah.
and that's what offers.
We used Paul Logis in New York to master it, and he's worked on all the Pantera records. Mm-hmm. So that gave us that extra edge.
Yeah.
So we were very happy. Let's just put it this way: a very refreshing album, in my opinion, especially on sound, where we took a gamble where a lot of bands wouldn't have done it.
Yeah, right. That's what offers a superior death metal experience, and also one of the most, let's say, meaningfully written Cataclysm album as well, where, like you said, you just let yourself go, write an honest album, do experimentation, think about, okay, yeah, it is a risky step, but let's see the outcome, and here we have it, and fans are going to hear it in June first week and get to know that this is what it is.
Yeah, for sure. And what the thing is that's helped us a lot, is the patience factor. It's the fact that, we were actually sometimes, even during the tour, when we were touring with In Flames in the U.S., mm-hmm. In between days off, we came to my place in Chicago, and we just sat down and had breakfast, and let's start writing some music. Let's start writing a new record like we used to do, like when we were younger, I think that was a big, big thing. And when you have the patience to put in, I think that you get good results. You know what I mean? And I really believe that the chemistry is just becoming an all-time high with Cataclysm, and the message is getting delivered better. Especially when you take your time.
Definitely, man. What about touring, man? This album is going to be on stage, man. This is something that mm-hmm. people definitely are going to love on stage. So, any plans of such at the moment?
Touring plans right now, we're going to do 4 record launch shows in the U.S. On the first week of release, mm-hmm. To commemorate the album in New York, Cleveland, Chicago, and L.A. Mm-hmm. We're going to do that first week of June, and then there's plans to do a world tour with Hypocrisy together.
Great.
Me and Peter are good friends for, many years, and it's been 15 years since we haven't toured together.
Oh yeah, man.
So,
People are waiting for Hypocrisy album as well. He's been busy with Pain, and I hope that there is at least
right. It's good. Something's happening with that, so
Great,
that's all I can tell you. So we're going to do a tour together, which is very in demand at the moment. So that's going to be part of the plans to do that on a world basis. Actually, that's the plan. So
awesome, dude.
That's the first things we got going on, but there's going to be more. Obviously, it's a bit early to speculate everything, but that's one of the solid plans that we have, and so we look forward to really coming out and playing these songs live because they're really something special, and I think it's going to bring a lot of new, vision to Cataclysm,
Awesome, dude. That is wonderful. Now, to sum up, if you have to describe the sound of Meditations in just one sentence, what would you say?
Well, one sentence. Very difficult in one sentence, but I would just say very organic. It's a very organic production and sound on this record. Yeah.
Absolutely, dude. Dude, thanks a lot for spending some time, man. I really appreciate it, and good luck with the release. Obviously, I'm going to catch you at one of the shows soon.
Always a pleasure to talk to you, and thank you so much for your support over the years, and just thank you for the time. I appreciate it.
Take care, buddy. I'll catch you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you. All right, bye-bye.